Hello, everybody. Welcome to Crypto Talk Now. I am here with you today. This is Max on this wonderful Sunday evening. And if anything, before we kick it into the comments, I want to go ahead and give you guys a heads up on what some of the news highlights will be for this particular program. We have, for instance, some quant news for you, some specific ones in regards to XRP. You're not going to want to miss that. ALBT, LCX, especially with Davos, this whole thing with the World Economic Forum and so on. And last but not least, if I didn't already say LBT, we happen to have some XDC news for you. Yeah, XDC. It's been a while since we've done some XDC news, so really glad to provide each and every single one of these. Let's go ahead and kick it into the comments. And really nice to see we have people here before the show starts. These are things, of course, all content creators dream of and so on. So I can't thank you guys enough. That's really awesome. And on top of that, we have, I don't know, just I think it's going to be a great show, to say the least. So let's go ahead and get into it. If you happen to have not noticed it, Larry did put out some videos today. So he's really doing good with that. And let's go ahead and start off with the first comment of the day. Let's see who's up first. All right, we got Crypto Mike, aka Crypto McDizzle, for Shizzle Manizzle for show. He says, check out this project. It's BRG, the Bridge Oracle. Its use case and low cap, and look at its run the last month-ish. Okay, well, let me see if there's any particular listing on CMC or CoinGecko or anything like that. Let me see here. BRG. I guess you know me. So you're talking about Bridge Oracle, just like I said. Yep. All right, I'll add to my favorites. We'll share that one real quick. Let's take a brief moment to do so. And here it is. Bridge Oracle, BRG, ranked 724. It's on the Binance Smart Chain. Looks like it has a circulating supply of 8 billion, 2 million. 80% of it is in circulation. You have a max supply of 10 billion. So yeah, that matches up. Wow. Okay. I can see why you're definitely looking at it right now. January 15th, earlier today, was sitting at 0.001106, and it did break a zero. Hold on. Am I reading that right? 001. No, I'm not. Okay. It's just, all right. 18% compared to earlier today. Still, that's pretty significant. All right. How about all time? So this has been around since 2020. So it's not like it's completely brand new. And it was high as 33 cents at one point. So it's gaining traction. All right. Look more into it, Mike. Thank you. All right. I'm going to go ahead and kick it into some more comments. And next up, we have Green Candle Fanatic, Quant, Max Weekly, I should say. Well, good to see you, Green Candle. Always enjoy seeing somebody from the recorded come over to the live. But I know you've been here more than a few times, so welcome back. I think that's really awesome. Great to see it. And we have 35 wonderful people here tonight. If you haven't done so already, please smash that like button. It helps us tick up to the next tier. Hopefully we get 40s, 50s, and so on. Get the show out to more and more people. Can't thank you guys enough for being here. OGs to OGs, you name it, and so on. I'm just going to double check to make sure that I'm caught up on everything. Did see quite a few OGs to OGs come on in. We'll get to you here in just a bit. Here's one. Tim Shea says, hey, good to see you, Tim. XXI Gaming's in the house. Good to see you, XXI. Watermelon Crypto Sugar Highs, Larry would say, is here. Good evening, CTM family. Here I am. Well, good to see you, man. Boomer F and Sooners here in the house. Thank you for being here. Let me go further down. Welcome to some of you guys ready. Good to see Sobo in the house. G-Pod Sunday to you all. Good seeing a fellow educator here. Sobo is a teacher. Let's see here. We have Brian Dowie's in the house. Good to see you, Brian. Give you the dab right back. And just going further down the comments, we got Salamander in space. Thanks for being here, Salamander. I would agree, Sobo. Quant is looking really, really great. We're going to point some of those key things out. Mr. Lambo's Crypto Talk says CTM fam looking bullish. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate having you here. How about this gentleman? Another OG of OGs. Mr. Selmo Fuds in the house. Good to see you, Selmo. Also, Mr. Lambos. If I didn't really say so already, I think I did, but nonetheless, just want to double check. Let me see if you guys have any specific comments. Salamander says Bone Shib going wild. Yeah, that's awesome. We'll point some of those things out here in a bit. Very glad to see some of that. We have April Cornwell in the house. She says, hey, all my beautiful peeps. Hope everyone had a beautiful day. I sure did. Beautiful weather. Had all my kids. Beautiful day. That's awesome, April. That is cool. Thank you for the flowers. Let's see here. David Barnett, looking good with your, looks like, what is that? Let me zoom in a little bit more. Oh, you got your whole getup going on for, well, thanks for your service, man. For real. That's awesome. Good to have you here, David. And let me see here. Crypto McDizzle. Yeah, I got some of your tags. You said tag you in a few ALBT. Yep. And I'm going to be sharing some of that on the ALBT segment. But, always appreciate that. What's the name is here? It says, sup, guys. Sup, Max. Yes. I got to say it at least once. So, we do happen to have some Liechtenstein exchange news straight from Davos. Jawohl, Oberst. All right. River Runners in the house. Good evening. Good to see you. Thank you very much. All right. Almost towards the bottom, but nonetheless, let me see. How about this guy? Daniel Gayton. He actually put out, by the way, hello, Daniel. Good to see you. Is it Daniel that we're looking for? Come on. Let's wait for it. Lionel Richie. Yeah, I know. I don't know how we started that, but there he did that a while back. All right. Daniel states, hello, everyone. Daniel, I did go through some of the ALBT notes. I saw that you happened to put out a video, so we'll definitely, draw notes to that and so on. We'll give you what you call a shout out or a plug. Anyway, how about this guy, Daniel Delgado? Or did I say it wrong? I said it wrong, didn't I? Daniel, don't call me Carlos Delgado is in his house. He says, good evening, everyone. How for a speedy recovery for your dad, Max? Yeah, well, thank you. He's still recovering, to say the least. So it's been kind of a trying time, but he's going to get through it. I know it. All right. Thank you, guys. All right, let's go ahead and kick it into our particular news coverage. And if anything, we're going to start things off with Quant. All right, so let's go ahead and get into that. I think I have it right here. Shout out to Greg Lunt, the one and only when it comes to some of this. So, yeah, let's pull it up. So as you can see right here, hopefully you guys can see it. Let me double check that. Sometimes StreamYard has some issues. Okay, I see what's going on. All right, so yeah, we do have it right here. And it says, I guess we don't have it right here. What is going on with this? Yeah, that's odd. Hold on a second. Let me share this in a way to be a lot better. Let me see. I apologize. All right. There we go. Again, shout out to Greg Lunt. It says new Quant releases Overledger 2.2.21. Everybody's hoping for, a 3.0. We're not going to leapfrog to 3.0. Even though these guys haven't been around for an update for a while, that's not going to happen. So basically, this is going to increase functionality for, listen to this, QRC 721 APIs. Yeah, right when you thought that maybe Quant was limited to just, QRC 20. No, not limited to just that. So this is in regards to Quant's NFTs. Yeah, Quant's NFTs. Do you not feel that much more bullish? NFTs, as we know, can represent things like digital securities, bonds, ETFs, and supply chain asset authentication. Did I say that right? Authentication. So what sets QRC 721 specifically tokens apart from regular NFTs? That's what everyone wants to know, right? What's so special about this? Yeah, it's Quant. That sounds special in itself, but let's get to the specifics. So what's new in regards to this? And I'll blow this up. Well, I guess that's the biggest it goes, guys. It says release of Overledger 2.2.21 adds more functionality. Again, what we mentioned, customers can monitor smart contract events for their QRC721 token and receive updates directly to a callback URL. Feature number one says you can subscribe and to basically receive updates when a QRC721 token has been approved for collection. There's some specific, notes here, but here's this other thing. You're going to be able to subscribe to receive updates when a QRC721 token has been burned. And that's one of the key things here, because if anything, this enables your NFT to not only be quote unquote used as a utility NFT, but think about this burn mechanism. And as we know already, when it comes to Quant, it's becoming that much more scarce. So I like seeing this. And if anything, I think price reflection is going to show what's going on with that. And we'll get into that here in a bit as well. We are going to try our best to do the 5 minutes in, 5 minutes out, but it hasn't been quite 5 minutes. All right, so there's this. And let me see, just double checking if we're got the right one. All right. Yeah, there's this right here. It says Quant looking very strong on the 4-hour chart. And that's one of the things I definitely want to draw a highlight to whoever mentioned it earlier. So we're up to roughly a little over $130, $131. Everybody said that this is going to crash to $40 or $50. I don't see that happening unless we have some crazy black swan event happening. Combine that with Davos going on, it just doesn't make sense that would happen. But to each his own. Here's what's going on with this. This is the biggest I can make it. And it's nice. It's looking really, really good for Quant, right? Not every day we show you guys like a particular chart, but there you go. And then on top of that, we will get into this just for a little bit. And it says basically Quant is spearheading the whole thing in the shadows. And I couldn't possibly agree more. Imagine still not owning a single token out of a finite 14.6 million, supply. By the way, the entire supply is now circulating. We're gonna get more into this. So this comes straight from, of course, Quant. It says an appropriately designed CBDC should leverage a two-tier model using both a central bank and a retail commercial bank. As with cash, central banks, as we know, should manage wholesale interbank payments, and banking intermediaries can basically manage payments between consumers and businesses. On top of that, this structure specifically provided by Quant is going to mitigate risks from the structural disintermediation of banks and the centralization of the credit allocation process to help prevent systemic runs on banks in crisis. And that's key. Think about if we would have had some of these things implemented back in 2007 to 2010 during the Great Recession, right? That would make sense. The CBDC model can use a secure, decentralized structure with DLT configurations that are private, ring-fenced by governments and financial institutions, and permissioned, enabling consumers and businesses access through their commercial bank connected to the interbank CBDC network. Again, another key thing here. And you see what's going on recently with the whole thing of some of these guys from Quant working with MIT, basically the Fed, the New York Federal Reserve. It all makes sense. Again, a little bit more like supply and demand. Now, before we kick it back into the comments, check this out. There will be more clarity on CBDCs by the industry in the upcoming months. And we basically have been outlining this for a while. I feel as though that regulatory compliance comes full circle, in my humble opinion, in March. That also makes sense. Why? Because as we know, especially when it comes to the change of Congress and so on, you have a lame duck session. But when everything comes to full circle is for some reason, it's usually around in March. Legislation gets, they talk about it these months going forward, but real solid legislation, the ball gets moving usually typically in March, especially if you're into these types of things. It says this, in regards to his take on it and from our meetings with central banks, is that there would be a wholesale CBDCs and specific FMIs and FIs that will be issuing pegged retails CBDCs for smaller value transactions. And that's another key thing that stands out here. You want to see some of these also smaller value transactions. This concludes the start of our particular quant coverage. We'll come back for more here in a bit. Let's get back into the comments. All right, up next we have, for instance, where's next in line, which is, let's see. We have Diggs BTW straight from Twitch. Hey, what's up, G? Well, good to see more people from Twitch. So glad to see you here. We really do appreciate it. We're gonna have to double check on what's going on with Twitch, but yeah, it's always nice to see some people come from Twitch. Thank you for joining us here, guys. Let's give Diggs BTW 7, that warm CTN network welcome. Cool Cat Crypto's in the house. He's with the monkey. All right. Let's see here. It's at 140 at the moment. I think you're talking about Quant. Let's double check that real quick. And then we'll get right back into the particular comments. We'll double check what's going on with Quant. And I do see it's at 135.58. It's up about 5%. So that's really cool to see that. But for a lot of us, maybe it's not cool. Maybe you're like, nah, it's not cool, Max. I need it to be an even 100, or I need it to drop down to 50. Well, we all had our chance. So, boom. Yes. All right. Let's get further down. Thank you for getting the algorithm going. I do see we're up to 40. If you haven't done so already, especially if you're new, please hit the like. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. All right. Let's see here. Let's see if there's anybody else I haven't seen yet. Get into a few more. How about this? Brittany's in the house. Happy Sunday. Thank you, Brittany, for being here. Appreciate you as usual. All right. Football Sunday. Yep. Big games, to say the least. Calvin, decent relief rally to start off another new year. Impressive stuff. Yes, it is. Just like your T6 glider is impressive, we'll have an impressive year. Bonum. Shh. Not really. All right. That was kind of corny. All right, LA. What up, Pete? Yes, good to see you. I guess Cool Cat Crypto already welcomed you, because as soon as he came in, he said monkey, and then there's your avatar. Anyway. All right. That's what she said to Max 5 minutes. All right. That's horrible. All right. So many bone jokes. Oh, yeah, true. All right. Quant at 30. Yeah, we covered that one, but it's good to see you guys are trying to double check it. That's really good. Crypto Fusion's in the house. Says hit the like button. Thank you for that. Eddie T, good to see you, man. As always, you've always been more than supportive. Here's an update in regards to Jasmine, straight from Mike Cornwell. He says Jasmine is up 4% in 1 hour. So glad I'm in Jasmine. I think that one's going to really, really pay off, to say the least. All right, let's get further down. See if there's any specific questions or comments. How about this one? What a name. I think Quant will come back to 70 or 80. Well, hopefully people will recognize the opportunity either way. All right. Bachtron's back. He says, why is ALBT pumping so hard and LCX scaling back a bit? Well, ALBT actually is really getting some good partnerships going on. And then also with this whole thing with Davos from the World ZVED Economic Forum. That's literally happening as we speak. Combining a few of those particular factors and so on, these guys who meet up at these particular events, we may know about their use cases and so on, but when they get on a level playing field, if you will, to pitch, some of the key highlights they have or any specific updates, you will see the market reflect based on, those specific things going on. And you definitely see it happening as we speak. I mean, ALBT has been way up. I think you're going to see LCX. That's going to start having a decent pump on the upside, to say the least. I'll show you guys some footage. I should say footage, more like, pictures from Davos here in a bit. Do you think everything is heading to a bull market? We have enough evidence to show that. I know a lot of people feel as though that's not the case. We've been in the minority when it comes to some of those particular statements and have been right. I know I was going to release that particular recorded video, which is a continuation based on the last, we call it bull market indicators and so on. I didn't have a chance to put that out yet, but I definitely am going to look to put that out here soon. So be on the lookout for that. Good questions, by the way, you guys. Let me see here. Yep, good to see you, Bactron. Same with you and Eddie and everybody else. Let me go further down. If I didn't have a chance to say hello to Diggs, hello to you. Or you're the guy from Twitch. So that's good that everybody's welcome each other. And also, here's what Stump Rider. Well, hey, everybody. Good to have you here, Stump Rider. All right, let me see here. I'm gonna read the statement. That's why I heard BNB hoarding ALBT and listing it soon. Yet we're gonna show you at least 3 or 4 different examples. One will be from where Mike Cornwell tagged me. There's still other ones. So this is a real thing, and there's going to be one particular wallet address that's going to be the icing on the cake. You're not going to want to miss that. Daniel Gayton says, the Quant drops that far back, the truck up for me. Yeah, for a lot of us, right? All right. What's the name? I saw Grimace coin on your thumbnail, Max. I mentioned it the other day. I know you got a big face. Yeah, well, it was just more out of fun. That thing's been around for a while. It's just, is it are we in what do I call that particular one? Bull Run or Crypto Mick Fake Pump in honor of Crypto McDizzle, aka Mike Cornwell. All right, Boxtron, Coinbase Pump is something to look forward to. Cool. Emmanuel is in the house. He says, thanks a lot, Max. Talking about Quant LCX prompted me to start looking into them deeply and eventually started investing in them. Really love what you and Larry are doing. Well, thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Just keep in mind, we provide the content, but it's not official financial advice. Please don't sue us. Thank you very much. Anyway, so going further down, let's see here. Tim Shea, pull back when Jerome talks next. That's true. That's something we all got to keep in mind about. So all those people who, and I saw, who was it? Cool and Chris posted this, I think yesterday. He said, do not trade with your heart, trade with the chart. Not exact words, but close to it. And if you've been trading with your heart because you're like, I'm convicted on this, again, got to keep in mind, Tim Shea's right. If we have a pullback, maybe you should wait that much longer. So, but then again, there's other combining factors too. I mean, there's Davos literally going on as we speak. So I think it depends. But typically speaking, I mean, there could be quite the pullback. So, and then I honestly believe after that pullback, think about this. It's probably going to be a while, at least maybe, a couple months or so, right? Blast off. That's the next thing I'm getting into. We'll talk more about that in the recorded. If you want to watch it, if you're just a live person, that's fine too. Hit that like if you haven't done so already. We're almost at 50. Really glad to have you guys. We're gonna get more, into some of these hot topics here in a bit. This is a trap. You feel like okay? What's up, Max a Billion? Love your show. Well, thank you, G Puma 83. I'm glad that you do love our show. That's what we like to hear. And if anything, we always appreciate newcomers. I want to welcome you. Consider changing your avatar if you want. It just helps us to identify you a lot easier. And guys, let's get G Puma 83, that Warm Crypto Talk Now network. Welcome. Let's also recognize any other new person we have. And on top of that, G Puma 83, if you happen to have any questions or comments, feel free to drop it. We have a very welcoming community here at CTN. All right, let's get further down. Crypto Fusion says it's definitely a trap. I understand, a lot of people feel that way. My thing is this: if we get 2 solid weeks of this momentum, if you will, I don't care if it's popular to say it or not. Sometimes you got to be bold with it. I'm just going to be like, yeah, we are in a bull market. I'm not quite ready to say that, but again, in our particular recorded, while everybody was saying it wasn't going to get to this, and then, that was going to be further down the road, been right so far. So, we have a little more in regards to that. Be on the lookout for it. All right, Lucas says, did you hear about the new Amazon coin? I have not heard about that. Anybody else in the community heard about that? We'll have to look more into that. Thank you for letting us know about that. How do you feel about it, Lucas? Are you bullish on that? Backtron pullback is awesome to add more LCX, ALBT, and Quant. It is. Absolutely agree. All right, Grizzly Bear, formerly known as Grizzly Bear Greg, say it's great to see everyone tonight. Well, good to see you, Greg. And let's see here. What's the name? EWT hasn't had the same pump as the rest. overlooked gem. I feeling more bullish every time I take a deep dive. I was thinking about maybe getting more into that because it is listed on Cheat Sheet 2.0 on the top right about EWS, and they have, for instance, what we're going to share with you, that particular ALBT partnership. All right, let me get further down into some of this. Edward Vincent of Top Shelf Crypto says, "What up, y'all? Welcome at G Puma 83 Voot." You gotta say, you can't just do the traditional American Voot. You gotta do the, the Klaus Schwab Voot in the Boot. All right. And I have no idea. I don't even know if it's real or not. Oh, okay. And crypto, Cool Cat Crypto. Mike done pull another edible in my cat food. I'm effed up. Wow. All right. XRP is almost at 40 cents. Yep, it is. And all right, let's get into some additional news coverage we have for you guys. Let me see about pulling it up here just a moment. See where I'm last at. So let's see. All right, here we go. All right. So I need to fix this because it always does it. I guess it's a new update to StreamYard. That's all right. All right, so we got this right here, and this comes straight from FinTech Futures, North American edition, in regards to DLT in 2023 out of the blocks. The key takeaway here basically is that this was written by Gilbert Verdian. I'll try to get to some of the quick gist of how and why this makes sense and why you should care. So if anything, what's coming down the track, as it says, in 2023 when it comes to interplay between DLT and the financial sector, right? There's some key predictions for the year ahead, but what exactly does 2023 have in store for DLT? That's the bottom line, right? Well, it says with the class of FTX and crypto winter that a lot of you guys feel as though that we're still in. Let's be honest about it, right? There's the whole thing of gaining consumer trust and how should we protect the people. Power to the people, right? Well, in 2023, the calls for more stringent rules will turn into demands, and that's what everybody's demanding for, key regulation and things that make sense and things that don't make sense. Let's not even try to think about introducing that, right? We got to have regulatory clarity. That's the main key takeaway here. So governments and regulators will realize they can no longer expose consumers to unsupervised exchanges who seemingly had a license to print money and generate steep losses for those who could at least afford it. Or how about this? There has to be, we can't be recommending exchanges who there's, for instance, there's no real, I guess you could say, nobody monitoring behind the scenes. And you think about this, like when it comes to the laws of the land, right? For instance, the police, people are saying, well, police need to be, there should be people following what they're doing and so on. Well, they have that already, right? It's basically called internal affairs. So to a sense, hear me out. This is basically stating, is there going to be like an IA, if you will, when it comes to exchanges, you name it, that regulatory clarity? How is that going to be designed? Well, when we get further into this, it states recognizing the need for regulation is one thing, designing, agreeing to it, and implementing is quite another. We can take an example from the EU, European Union, which is acting as a leader in the space. Its markets in crypto asset regulation, which is called MiCA bill, serves as a solid example of a comprehensive regulatory framework. Now, the reason why I'm highlighting this specifically when it comes to MiCA is because you're going to see here soon, probably within the next couple months, how they'll basically use this as a template for regulatory compliance. Why should you care about that? Well, you're in crypto. You should care because otherwise, what are we doing, right? It says, additionally, as the crypto world becomes more staid and sensible, layer 2 technologies that were hastily and poorly designed will start to disappear. Here's the key thing I want to point out also to you guys, and Gilbert Verdian has said this before. There's going to be a few layer 2s that will still be here from it. Which ones are those? I know a few of you guys feel as though you already know which one they are. And this is, again, fuels fire, or puts fuel to the fire of the whole concept that 99% of these things are going to go away. But layer 2s are definitely standing out with that, right? And so if we have done enough of our own research about certain layer twos, then we already know, hopefully, what we hold and which ones will be going away. There's lots of different use cases when it comes to blockchain. But if anything, I want to get further into this. And of course, I introduced to you why that specific one is going to be used as a template. Getting more further down into this is regards to this whole thing with CBDCs. Now, just, I'm going to spend maybe a couple more minutes into it, and I'll get back into the comments. But here's the thing. We can't predict the future. I'm not fortune teller or anything like that. But look at this. It says we predict further political grandstanding on this issue, especially in the United States, where libertarian and Republican senators have already spoken out against the introduction of CBDCs. Their position is the stark contrast to the prevalence of CBDCs in China, where the digital yuan has seen transaction volume surpass 14 billion. However, democratic nations will need to compete as the world changes and the CBDCs become part of international trade, financing, and cross-border settlement. So you have, for instance, the use cases, right? You have guys, for instance, that are involved with crypto and introducing why CBDCs are going to be coming here soon. But the key thing is the ones that are specifically attached to what? Providing, like this is backed by gold, or this is backed by, but it has specific technologies that simply make sense to provide use case, whether it's XRP with, Ripple's on-demand liquidity and so on. And that's the key factor on this whole fight of back and forth. And why I believe the likes of, for instance, Ripple's XRP will win, or Stellar Lumens and ones like that. But to have CBDCs that have nothing attached to it, like, for instance, what you see in China, those don't make sense. So will cooler heads prevail, and we'll get the regulatory compliance that we're looking for? I believe we do. And the reason for it is, for instance, this right here. In 2023, we'll see widespread introduction of some of the cybersecurity principles and safe custody solutions, with regulations catching up. Regulations will catch up. And if anything, I think, again, you have some of the clear, precise, I guess you could say, overall consensus that, look, these have solid real world use case. We need to have cooler heads to prevail and have it attached to real world technologies to get the job done. And the ones that don't make sense will be fizzled out, and the ones that do make sense will obviously leapfrog forward. What does that mean for us as investors for when we came in at dirt cheap prices? It means that much more amazing things should happen. Again, if you've done more of your own research, and of course we help you do that, hence why we're called DYOR, right? Then if anything, just hold the course, know what you hold. Our time will come. All right, gonna go ahead and kick it back into the comments, and let's see who we have up next. Mac broke $1. It did? Nice. Well, you know what? Last night was 97 cents, so that makes sense. Let's take a moment to see what's going on with Matic real quick. I'm not going to do the share just yet. I'm just going to see a pull up. Yep, it's up $1 to $1.03, 6.2%. One of the top players of what? 2022. Thank you for that sideline reporting from the one, the only, Daniel Gate. All right, I say we have 54 wonderful people here tonight. If you haven't hit that like, please do so. It really helps us tick up to the next tier. Maybe we'll get 60 tonight. That'd be really, really cool. I'm just going to double check to make sure I didn't miss anything. Because, I don't have two monitors up right now. In the future, I will. But I just double checking my other... It's my other screen within another screen. I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but yeah, I'm just double checking that, in regards to, like super chats and stuff like that. The reason for it is because, we do want to prioritize those. So I didn't see that. That's okay. Let's go ahead and kick it back. Crypto McDizzle, for shizzle manizzle for show, says meow cat crypto. Okay. All right. Top Shelf, aka Edward Vincent, says eat the voot and own the nashing. Okay. Oh yeah, nothing. Nashing. Yeah, that makes sense. There's Larry. Greetings, CTN family. Thank you for being here, Larry. Well, if Larry's here, why isn't he here? Well, I don't know, because this is day off. All right. Tim Shea, Max, do you enjoy nights Larry loans you the casting couch? I don't need a casted couch because I'm not going to get into that right now. But thank you for that. All right, Coochie Boy. Sup, all fun house tonight. Good to see you, Coochie Boy. All right. Sup, Larry. Sup, Max. Yes. Thoughts on Gary Gensler? I think he is the most sinister behind-the-scenes guy out there. How about this? If Mr. Klaus Schwab is Palpatine, then Gary Gensler is the Darth Vader. That's an analogy for you, right? Yeah, he's corrupt. Exactly. Daniel Gayton states, will XRP break that 41-cent price? That's the key level. Was rejected yesterday. Well, I know a lot of you guys look at the short term, but for me, I don't even care about any of that stuff because I'm not even looking to swing trade my XRP. That's just me. Gotta do what you gotta do. Cool Cat Crypto. Larry got that Wolfpack meeting tonight. You keep pounding that home, don't you? Anyway. All right. Larry, how are you? Yeah, but no problem, man. All right, Crypto McDizzle for Sigil McDizzle for show. Bro, look at the FGX for the day. Oh boy, did FGX pump? And I said I was going to get into it, but I don't know. It's just there's so many other things to get into. Yeah, 5%. Well, I mean, it's not bad. 8% now, 44 cents. Huh. Thanks for pointing that out. All right, we're going to go ahead and highlight this so I don't lose my spot. Kick it back into some more particular coverage we have for you guys. It's a little bit more in regards to the whole thing with Quant, and then we'll get into some other news coverage here in a bit. So here's this, and if anything, it's not sharing the right way. Hold on a second. Window, there we go. All right, from the one and only. If Larry was here, he would say, I love it when they call me Quant Papa. All right. Worldwide ledger, Web3, right? Pretty cool. We'll be transacting with value, not information. Value. Look at all this. Universal space, that was information. Worldwide ledger, value, right? You have the medium, the network of networks, the network of blockchains, objects, content data, assets, capability, information management. Look at some of these other things. Identifier, via URL, via decentralized ID, transfer protocol, via HTTP, right? Via validations, consensus. Let's get further down. How about this? Authorization via intermediaries, smart contracts, universal space, World Wide Web, and then on top of that, the worldwide ledger. So shout out to Quant Papa in regards to all this. We got to get a little bit more into our particular coverage. And if anything, we're going to actually start some of our brief XRP coverage. You guys all know about Grant Cardone. You should at least. It says Cardone's brother looks like fake Cardone. It's weird, but that's not the point. This is in regards to when banks fail. And that's one of the key things to recognize here, right? And if anything, it should be, well, I'm not trying to convince you to get an XRP, all right? I'm not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice. You're going to hear that all the time from content creators. We have to protect ourselves. But when it comes to all this, it does make sense to understand the utility and to understand Ripple's on-demand liquidity. That's the key thing I want you to take away from here. We're going to play this. It's only 1 minute. What his brother, Grant Cardone's brother, has to mention is really, really key. And I saw this earlier, and I said, I'm sharing this with the community. Here we go. We'll be right back. Oh, shucks. I got to share it in a way for you to hear it. Ugh. All right. Yeah. The gripes of StreamYard. All right. Hold on a second. Let me... I am researching a different software, to say the least, because it does get kind of annoying. All right, so I'll highlight that one. There we go. There we go. All right. 1 minute. We'll be right back.
If it's in the bank, why don't you go down to the bank this afternoon and get 50 G's from it?
Is that hard?
Impossible.
Well, I've called them and they just said they need time.
Oh, yeah, they need time because they're not carrying cash because they're fractionalized banking. But try to give them 50 grand.
What will they do?
Come back, man. Come back. We can't take this. We have people in line. I dropped $1 million in cash off to a bank one day at 7:30 in the morning into their door. And they're like, you don't have any security? No. And I'm getting on a plane, dude. You're taking this money. This came from you. It's coming back to you. They literally had to shut the bank down. They were so nervous. Giving the banks money is becoming problematic, and for sure taking it.
What do you think one day if the banks just don't respond
to
anything?
I think that's going to happen.
Well, that's where you wish you had some cash or some Bitcoin.
If it's in the bank, why don't you go down to the bank?
All right. So it's just all about perspective and hear about that and so on. You know, he said, for instance, why don't you get some Bitcoin? But, you know, to each his own. All right. Let's see here. Edward Vincent states he didn't realize this was his brother. I saw this the other day. WTF, give $1 million to a bank. I guess his brother could. Yeah, that's a good point. But the thing is this, I mean, understanding that this is definitely a problem when it comes to, you know, hey, I have a bunch of cash, here you go. And they're like, you know, we can't take this, sir. And literally shutting down a bank. Can you imagine if you had a whole influx of people doing that? Now, in reality, not everybody's just going to come down to a bank and, you know, give them $1 million and so on. I do understand that, but anyway, yeah, you meant Bitcoin SV. Huh. What happened to Grant? He looks way old. Well, we old age, right? Even me, I lost most of my hair. It sucks. I hate it, but that's the way it is. Let me go ahead and highlight this from Cool Cat, and if anything, we'll get back into some of our news coverage. It's regards to Ripple and Gary Gensler. All right, let me share this with you guys. All right, so this was straight from Fortune. Yeah, there he is. There's his mug. Ripple's, it says, Congress must examine the SEC's role in the recent crypto contagion. This is posted by Stuart Alderoty, who is legal counsel to what? Ripple. Yeah, featured on Fortune. That was pretty cool. Shout to Fortune for, you know, recognizing some of the BS going on in the space, right? But anyway, Chairman Gensler and the SEC attended a meeting at the Treasury Department. Of course, this was back on December 16th, but nonetheless, there's an update in regards to all this. So with the recent collapse of BlockFi and FTX, the regulation by enforcement approach of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, when it came to crypto has been called into question by industry representatives, as we know from a while back. It says, on the heels of another crypto bankruptcy, did the self-proclaimed top crypto cop make things better or worse? And that's the key thing here. I think if anything here soon, whether it's being mentioned more and more or not, you're going to have the likes of Fortune. You're going to have the likes of other, outlets reporting on this. And this is good because let's face it, this is something that we've all been, gung-ho about, like, hey, he needs to be looked into. And I'm glad that Stuart Alderoty is pointing out some of this. But nonetheless, yeah, look at this. For instance, it says BlockFi, if you didn't know this, owes more than $1 billion to its largest creditors, including $30 million to the SEC as part of the balance due on its February $100 million settlement. The SEC trumpeted that settlement, claiming that BlockFi's platform needed to be registered with the SEC. While BlockFi has admitted no wrongdoing, it will probably be made that the calculation that settling was the most expedient action to take. BlockFi then turned to FTX to shore up its finances. Some of us know this, some of us don't. But on top of that, look at this. It says the SEC does not have the free reign to make new laws, and it does not have the expansive jurisdiction over crypto that it purports to have. Following the filing of criminal charges against FTX's CEO by prosecutors, the SEC filed its own civil charges alleging that sophisticated equity investors in FTX were defrauded. And yeah, that was something else to say the least. But look at this. It says at Ripple, Stuart Alderoty serves as who, as we know, general counsel. And he has just passed the 2-year anniversary of their ongoing litigation with the SEC to resolve the fundamental questions about limits of the SEC's jurisdiction. Now, in regards to all this, the SEC can only exercise the authority expressly granted to it by Congress. After the SEC was formed following the Great Depression back in the 1930s, there were serious concerns that government agencies like the SEC were out of control. They're just now figuring this out almost 100 years later. Let's face it, almost like 90 years later. In response, Congress has passed the Legislative Reorganization Act of 1946 to reaffirm its continuous watchfulness over these agencies. So in reality, it was roughly 10 years after that happened. As part of that oversight, Congress is entitled to information to ensure that unelected bureaucrats are not abusing their power and diminishing Congress's role in shaping national legislation. Now, the key thing here for you guys who are listening to this and so on is when you have the guys like Stuart Alderoty and so on, other ones out there who are going to be top proponents for investigating just who, the likes of Gary Gensler and the SEC and so on, they will keep referring to what? Actual law. That makes sense. I mean, why wouldn't they want to do that? And they're going to keep pounding home this specifically, which is the Legislative Reorganization Act of 1946, to do just that, reaffirm its continuous watchfulness over these agencies. And, I think the FTX thing was the icing on the cake. The first, obviously, let's face it, was the whole thing with Terra and so on. There's other, things that happen with Celsius, but the black swans, let's face it, was definitely FTX. And I think, if anything, this is what's going to be brought up more and more as we get regulatory clarity moving forward. And again, I think it's just people are starting to now talk a little bit more about it by specifically mentioning this. So by having specifics of particular laws that were, put into action all the way back in 1946, but bringing that up, that's good, because we need to have, our top elected officials or whoever the case be, look more into this person. These particular phone calls in the middle of the night, and him meeting up with SBF, we should never sweep this under the rug. And if anything, I'm glad to see whether it's legal counsel for Ripple or whoever it be mention this. And again, shout out to not Ripple, but shout out to Fortune for featuring this particular article. I was posted on January 11th, which was about a week ago, but it's still nice to recognize this and share it with especially our particular community. We have some more XRP news in regards to what's going on to share with you guys, but for now, we're going to kick it back in the comments. Try my best to do the 5 in and 5 out. All right. Cool Cat, the real Bitcoin. Yes, SV says. Dear God, is it Gary? Yeah. Gary Gensler looks like a lizard. Nasty, man, Gensler. Ah, man. Well, if he's so nasty, maybe he's the one that should have hooked up with Sweet Carol. That would be even more nasty. Anyway, she even mentioned that. All right, Cool Cat Crypto. He could be an alien. He could be. You never know. Too much probing. All right. Gary the Alien. Gary the Alien Gensler. That's a new one. All right, hit him with the noisy cricket politically. Yep. Too much program. He turned to FTX. All right. Salamander states CZ from Binance found FTX to be the fraud and not the SEC. That's a good point. That is a good point. Whether people feel as though CZ, let's face it, some people feel as though he's sinister and that's the next Black Swan thing. I don't know. But I mean, he did point some things out, and you saw how that snowballed. So shout out to you, Salamander. Backdoor meetings with Gensler. Oh, jeez. I don't know if I want to picture that, but anyway. Did I miss somebody? Oh, GS. Good to see you. Is it GS Golden State you're looking for? You know what I'm saying? Lionel Richie. I don't know. It's a thing that we do. Maybe one of these days we'll get that on a bumper sticker. And people will just be like, I have no idea what that guy's meaning. All right. Let's kick it into some more of our particular coverage that we have for you guys here tonight. And believe it or not, it is from the one and only Stuart Alderoty of Ripple's legal defense, right? Pretty cool stuff. This is straight from his particular Twitter. States 2023 is a pivotal year for regulation. Well, no duh. And Ripple's general counsel, Stuart Alderoty, is breaking the misconception that actors in the crypto space do not want regulation. Here's the thing. It's good to see this. And it's good to see that he stays on top of this because, I mean, I'm sure he's getting paid quite a bit from, Garlinghouse and the rest of Ripple anyway. So I saw this, I reviewed it earlier, and I said, cool, let's get this out to the public, our own community, and so on. Maybe you've already seen it, maybe you already follow him like myself. Already has 65,000 views. So, I mean, it's a lot of people follow him. I mean, this is how many followers he has. He has 105,000 followers. Do you know of any other attorney where somebody else would have that many followers? Maybe, I don't know, Violin, somebody like that. I mean, if Johnny Cochran was still alive, maybe Johnny Cochran or something like that. But, you know, different eras, right? Yeah. Maybe Robert Shapiro or something. I don't know. Don't want to get involved to that particular talk. But anyway, we're going to play this. It's only a minute and a half, and then we will come right back.
Asking a lawyer to answer anything in a minute is hard. It usually takes 30 seconds just to say on the one hand and 30 seconds to say on the other hand, but let's give it a shot. Hi, this is Stu Alderoty, and this is Crypto in a Minute. So crypto regulation is healthy because, well, actually, first, there's a misconception that actors in the crypto space do not want regulation. And I think responsible actors in the crypto space actually do want regulation. And the reason they want regulation, it's good for their business, it's good for their customers, it's good for the markets. And the way you get there is through clear regulation. Clear regulation consistently applied leads to predictable outcomes, and predictable outcomes are good for everybody. If you don't know what the law requires, you can't comply with the law. And the law inconsistently applied leads to unpredictable outcomes, which at the end of the day is not going to be good for anybody. So I think that's the definition of healthy regulation. And I think in the crypto space, we're working our way to get there. Some markets get it right, some markets get it wrong. And I got 1 second left, so I'm going to stop.
Love that.
All right, that was pretty cool. Shout out to Stuart Alderoty, who just simply understands. He gets us, in my opinion. You know, I'm glad to provide things like that to you guys and so on, and we'll, you know, take a little bit more of a deeper look into his, you know, particular Twitter page and so on. And if I see anything that is nice to share, I'm definitely going to do that. All right. H bar is the real deal. Yes, it is. Totally agree with that. And I think if anything, I said before, I'm going to say it again. After Davos is over, I think they 2X. I really think they do. Because if anything, it's what they're going to be pitching, if you will. It's not really pitching though, but I just think they're going to be a standout player at Davos. So anyway, let's go further down. And thank you for getting that algorithm going. Appreciate it. All right. So I think I'm doing a good job as far as keeping up with the comments and so on. I'm going to highlight Salamander's spot, and we're going to kick it more into our particular coverage that we have. This time, we're jumping into our next particular segment of coverage, which is ALBT. And if anything, some of you guys have tagged me. Shout out to Crypto Mike. I think there was one other that did earlier today. But anyway, let me see here. So here it is. And shout out to Crypto Mike, originally tagged me. And we have shared Crypto Buddha. There's some old hip hop record back in the day. I forgot who it was, but the guy goes, a Buddha, Buddha, Buddha. I don't know. It's weird. All right. You're like, what? But anyway, at Crypto Buddha 89. Binance is buying ALBT after it's done 200%. And we reported this literally the other day. And that the key thing here is it's still happening after a 200% pump for the week, right? So let's find out a little bit more on what's going on with this. I think I can zoom in a little bit more. Yeah. So earlier today, or not today, but the other day, you did see more of those particular transactions come from KuCoin. Pretty cool to see this. On top of this, there is this right here. So since October 2022, Binance has accumulated over 15 million. Excuse me. 15 million ALBT. Just today, they bought another 2.3 million ALBT. That's the key thing, right? So it's like there's whales, and then there's what they call exchanges, right? And of course, exchanges probably buy up the most when it comes to if you're going to do the comparison between whales. So it says it's not hard to see why Binance listing around the corner. It seems to be that way. And I don't want this to be a case of buy the rumor, sell the news, but a lot of people are following this. And it just makes sense that, you know, you're an exchange and you're buying this all up and people are literally following this particular transaction. You're just doing it for no reason. No, it's just that they're going to list it. Everything points that they will. So I just think it's a matter of time. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow or anything like that. I don't want to, you know, do the thing of, was it over promising, under delivering? I mean, I'm not, you know, we're not a crypto project. We're just a, you know, a news network, if you will. But look at this. AllianceBlock secures funding under $100 million accelerator fund set up for the Binance Smart Chain ecosystem. And you see some of that. Look at this. You see, for instance, the enterprise system application platforms for AllianceBlock. And of course, that particular Quant connection with Overledger, right? Enterprise permission blockchains, public permission blockchains, other blockchains. Look at the list. You have Hyperledger, Corda, JPM, Quorum, Ethereum, I should say, Ripple, Bitcoin, Stellar, IOTA, Neo, Cardano, Cosmos, even in the layer 0 with Polkadot. Top of that, here's the specific protocol for ALBT. An interoperable and chain agnostic end-to-end DeFi infrastructure. TIDV compliance, ABDEX token stability, funders capital raising, Alliance Bridge. We talked about that before. You have the DeFi terminal. Excuse me. Liquidity management and a data tunnel with standardized data marketplace. A little bit more to pound at home. We have talked about the Alliance Bridge. Why? Well, like it says, any transaction via the Alliance Bridge will have a fee of just 1 ALBT, creating even more token use cases. Now, here's another key thing I want to point out. Sounds super cheap right now because we're basing it on what? The particular price levels. But for some of you guys, you got this going all the way up to, for instance, I know some of you guys said $10, $20 in the future, even higher than that. You feel extremely bullish on AllianceBlock. But one of the key things is this. When you understand utility, you know where we're going with this, right? So when this gets up to high dollar amounts for the particular coin/token, it's going to be something else. Because again, think about it. Any transaction via the Alliance Bridge will have a fee of 1 ALBT. When this becomes worth a lot, oh my goodness. You think about how, I know it's a crazy comparison, but just think about this. So Ethereum, Mark Cuban talked about the ETH gas fees. Whether people are, fans of Ethereum or not, the key thing was the stupid gas fees. They're expensive. You have this, there's your gas, if you will. That utility will be continuously kicked in. And when it has a high dollar amount, you'd be so glad that you had some ALBT. Anyway, ALBT is the fuel. I didn't even look at that part. Say no more, right? Say no more. I literally just said it for you. That's what I'm talking about. Really excited, to say the least. All right. A little bit more in regards to our particular coverage. Going to go ahead and share this in the way. It's in regards to everything that you're seeing with the whole thing with ALBT and this whole thing with, what do you call it? Binance. So this is the icing on the cake that I was talking about earlier. And I wish I could zoom this in a little bit more, but that's how it is sometimes from crypto Twitter. So look at this. A balance of 13,579,099 from ALBT. Value of what? 1,029,811 in ETH. All right. Even says specifically right here, ALBT token balance for this particular transaction. You can view on Etherscan. All right. And it says if you jumped in ALBT when I started talking about it heavily a month ago, you're up 3x. And this is just the beginning. If we get this listing on Binance, you're going to need your moon boots. Binance is now a top 10 holder of ALBT. This was posted on January 14th. So what is that? Was it 2 days ago? 1 day ago. What am I talking about? 1 day ago. So this is pretty up to date. So I'll say it again. Binance is now a top 10 holder of ALBT. And that's one of the key things you should take from this. All right, after accumulating more than 15 million tokens. Looks like Binance listing for ALBT is imminent. I feel as though it is. That just makes sense. I'm not trying to hop on the bandwagon, but it just makes sense. Even you guys think it makes sense. Even Crypto Mike, aka Crypto McDizzle, for Shizzle Manizzle for show, he recognizes it as well. And of course, like it says, would explain the recent run-up. And of course, there's a particular picture. We give you a particular outline. Here's a little bit more. Just double checking I'm not muted. That'd be horrible. All right. Straight from the Binance Smart Chain. AllianceBlock has secured funding under the $100 million accelerated fund set up to boost the Binance Smart Chain ecosystem. This fund supports projects that aim to connect and better synergize decentralized and traditional finance. True. In order to strengthen the entire blockchain industry. Binance Accelerator Fund is a natural fit for AllianceBlock, which is building the future of finance by bridging the gap between the two. So again, it just pounds it home that much more. And you love seeing this. At least I do. All right. Here's a little bit more. Again, it's just kind of remind you, we already saw it. But again, even after 200% up, they're still accumulating more of this. Why would they do that? All right. So with that said, shout out to Daniel Gayton, another great person, part of our Crypto Talk Now network team. Says, why ALBT is pumping Binance? Well, you could look at his particular video that he did, and you could go to, for instance, YouTube. And if anything, he did a particular video on us that says, is on an amazing run, and why is that? And Daniel Gayton breaks that down. Check out his particular video in regards to that. He did post this earlier today at 8:45 a.m. Mountain Time. And if you want to follow Daniel Gayton on Twitter, you can follow him at dgayton30. Has a pretty decent following already. And it says that he is head coach of Locker One AAU basketball and general manager for healthcare investment or investor, I should say. But nonetheless, he does morning shows. He covers the likes of ALBT, Volt, some other projects, and so on. So, if anything, give Daniel a follow. Really cool to see that. And I'm going to go ahead and kick it back into the comments, and then we'll get into some more of our news coverage for you guys. All right. So, let's see who we have next on the list. And I'm glad you guys are keeping that algorithm going. Really appreciate that. The monkey. All right. Crypto McDizzle for shizzle. Shit. Ready to flood the screen for the algorithm. Thank you for that. Cool. Appreciate that, guys. That shows you care and you care about the show. Still doing well. Can't thank you guys enough. All right. Let me I can't highlight all these. There's so many of them. Mass debaters in here. Let me see. Greetings, everybody. I'm a little late to the party today. It's okay. Let's wait, have replays. If you choose to do so. Good to see you, Mr. Mass Debater. Glad to have you here tonight. People welcoming you. That's good. That's good. It's always good to see that. Knowing is half the battle. Yes, Joe, man, Saturday morning cartoons were the best as a kid. The best. Another thing that was good that I also like was the Disney afternoon. I thought that was pretty good. DuckTales, Chippendales, Rescue Rangers. My all-time favorite was Tailspin. All right. How about this? Knowing is half the battle, says Mr. Burns. Let me think of something to say in regards to Mr. Burns. Well, here's the thing. When it comes to Mr. Burns, you can either do the Reagan, which is, well, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Or you could say, well, Mr. Smithers. See how it sounds similar? Mr. Burns is secretly Reagan. Anyway, not really. All right. Sobo says, hey, Mass. That's good. GS, hello. Okay. A friend asked if Solana is good coin to get. What do you guys think? You tell them. it would have been a good coin to get it based on when it crashed down to $9. How do we know that? Well, how we know that is basically where it's at now. I mean, even right now, it's trending as we speak. Solana is still ranked. It's 11th overall. It's $24. So even, and Daniel, don't get me wrong. I hear you, my friend. You know, you make a very good case. Now, here's the thing. I'm with Daniel when it comes to long term. Okay. So right now, Solana's $24. This was roughly in a little over the $9 range. Okay. So here's my particular answer to this. I'm with Daniel Gayton. Long term, I think it's dangerous because I think Daniel said 13% is being held with FTX. So long term, no, thank you. Short term, however, I think it's proven that it was a great swing trade. We're talking literally maybe a daily swing trade, weekly swing trade, something like that, right? So we went from basically $9.50 in that range to where we're at now. Like I just mentioned, $23.44. So that was more than a 2x. You know what I mean? So that wasn't too shabby. But long term, I am with them on that until they get things cleared up with that, and they may not. It's too risky, and I rather put my money elsewhere in some of these more safer bets like ALBT and some of these other ones. That's a good question though. But you know, there's all sorts of different types of investors. Heck, some of you guys are these types of investors. You do swing trades. You do daily swing trades, weekly swing trades, bi-weekly swing trades, monthly swing trades, whatever the case be. You have bots. Some of you guys don't. Some of you guys obsess over it like a hawk. Wherever the case be, then you also are what? Long-term investors and so on. So it all depends. But just find out from your friend what type of investor they are. If they're completely new to it all, well, they need to do more of their own research. All right. Crypto McDizzle says he's got to think. Well, he meant Tim Shea. Because who the heck is Tom Shea? Or Tim, do you have a brother named Tom? You have a relative named Tom? I don't know. For the ALBT plug. Cool. Yeah, I think Tim Shea too for ALBT. Getting to know about it better. Sorry about that. Just have an itch. All right. Baktron. Against popular belief, but could ALBT get even bigger than Quant? Here's the thing. Some people, that's been the thing that's been trending lately. That's the thing. I don't, me personally, you know my answer. My answer is no. Now, I'm talking about not from an investor point of view. There's differences. As far as a retail investor point of view, yes, it could be because there's a lot of things that, hence why, like Tim Shea mentions, for instance, Quant's younger cousin. Okay, that connection, that makes sense from a retail point of view. Okay, but for the institutional point of view, from like all the partnerships they have, and that's just everything they're connected with. As far as that point of view, then my answer is no. So again, it literally just depends. I mean, here's the main thing, right? It's always going to be the price. People always complain about the price. Even at $50, they're going to complain about the price. $40 going to complain about the price. All right. Hey, knowing if I skipped over somebody, then sorry about that. You said Mr. Burns. Okay, I didn't skip over you. No one's had to battle G.I. Joes. Yep, I used to love watching G.I. Joe. All right, Tim Shea, Mike. All right. You're welcome, Daniel. No problem, man. I do the same for Waddy or some of the other. I promoted one of Sean's videos. I'm just trying to, you guys are part of the community and so on. I'm trying to help you guys out. We're not really asking for anything in return. I mean, I'm just glad to do it. All right. Sean Gill, HBAR or Algo? If you had to pick one, for me personally, even though I own Algo, I don't own HBAR yet. But here's the thing. Yet, I'm looking to get maybe tonight. Maybe. Depends on. I mean, if it's like pumping like crazy, then I'm going to wait. But if anything, I've actually have felt. I'm still a fan of Algo. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to get rid of my Algo. But if I had to pick one, believe it or not, even though I don't hold HBAR yet, I would pick HBAR. I would. I feel like I stated before, I feel as though it's going to do at least a 2x either during or after Davos is over. All right. Let's see here. Do the 5. Yeah, I need to, don't I? All right. Mass Debater, you love the way you say the handle name and really flows off the tongue. Okay. Crypto McDizzle. Max, have you seen CKY Skelter versus Beastman? LOL. Maybe. I don't know. When I was a kid, can we all agree on it? Because, you and I are around the same age. I think you're also class of 1999. Didn't you want to have Skeletor's Castle? What the heck was it called? Oh, now I got to Google that. Masters of the Universe. Skeletor's Castle. What was that called? Yep, Castle Grayskull. Castle Grayskull. I gotta pull that up. Castle Grayskull. Don't pull this up, Max. You're gonna lose everybody. Just hold on a second. Hear me out. Yeah, I gotta pull this up. It's just there's something about it. Yeah, here we go. I'm just gonna show this for just a moment. Kind of off kilter, but oh well. So when I was a little kid, back in the 1980s, I wanted this darn thing. I did. I just thought it was cool as heck. You know what I mean? How about this? When you guys were kids, and especially when it comes to like G.I. Joes and stuff like this, right? They would show a commercial for G.I. Joes. Were you the type of kid that you didn't necessarily care about having the action figure, but you wanted to buy what? You wanted to buy the backgrounds, all the landscaping stuff, the cool battlegrounds and all the stuff in the background, but they never sold that stuff. You know what I mean? But you know what? I had an art teacher who tried to teach us how to make that stuff. But I mean, come on, that's real time consuming. But anyway, Mr. Burns, excellent. Yes. Hello, Smithers. Excellent. All right. Daniel Gayton, long-term no good. FTX owns too much. All right, let me go over that. It's just me, but Mr. Burns looks exactly like SEC Gary Gensler, Smithers. Yeah. GS Daniel. I got to work on my Smith or my Mr. Burns, but I think I still have it down. Daniel Gayton, put in your money in ALBT, same return. Mass Debater. Gary is his son. You guys are going to find out something. I'll tell you this much. Here's a little subliminal message. You guys are going to find out that Sam Bankman-Fried is the great-grandson of who? Former President Richard Nixon. Let's give you a clue. Be out on the lookout. It's going to come. And you're going to be like, what? Watch out for a video. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Sean Gill, I like HBAR, but the $50 bill supply makes me question it having a return on investment advantage over algo. Huh. Well, there's nothing wrong with questioning that. I mean, that's good that you want to do that. All right, let me get it for that. Mr. Burns is Gary Gensler. Blacktron, catching ALBT for cents per coin now is like catching Quant at this price. Oh, that's a good point. Paula Rose in the house. Good to see you, Paula. She says that she traded $80 worth of ALBT at 4 cents last week, and it went up to $13. Traded to get $80 worth of ALBT. Okay, hold on. Took my $8 out. Still gone 2x. Was thinking, too, that maybe it could be bigger than Quant. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people feel as though, I mean, it's that return on investment, basically. But my thing is, I'm not looking to do it, these quick trades. And I understand why you guys do it. That's fine. For me, Quant is one of those long-term holds. But you got to do what you got to do. Or you do the Coochie Boy approach. He does, 3 different bags, one for short, one for long, one for, moonshot or whatever. All right, Mass Debater, HBAR over algo for me. Yep, same here. But there's nothing wrong with algo. But if we have to pick 2. Rudy Poo from the recorded section. I remember you. Regards to some of your NASA quotes, and that's fine. Welcome back. HBAR is the only public address I have memorized. It's so short. Cool. Castle Grayskull, yep. Skunk or smelled weird, huh? You're in the same boat. You have algo, but also looking to get some H bar. Yeah, just H bar really, it just stands like when you look at some of those old interviews with, we'll pronounce it right this time, Lehman Bear, not Lemon Bear. You know darn well when he was a kid, during probably the times of Castle Grayskull and Saturday morning cartoons, those kids probably the first and second grade, probably like, oh, Lemon got picked last. He's the fat kid in dodgeball or something, just stupid stuff. Anyway, yeah, well, that fat kid in dodgeball is doing pretty well right now. I just don't picture Lehman Bear being a fat kid in dodgeball, but anyway. Top Shelf Crypto, aka Edward Vincent. Max needs to get a Google Assistant to quickly bust out those questions. I mean, like through Chat GPT or something. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to hell. You are going to hell, and you will be happy. All right. Luna 2 is moving and has been. I got in. Oh, okay. I still have some Luna 2. Anybody dipping in Aave? Nope. But I'll tell you this much. If you guys love Aave, you need to check out Clearpool. It's basically the same thing, but a hell of a lot cheaper. So you know how we dropped that Quant connection and basically say that ALBT is a younger cousin. So same type of thing, basically. Aave, right? Look at it from a Quant perspective. Clearpool is literally the younger cousin of Aave. I'm not kidding. I don't know why more people don't look into it. In the bull run, it's going to do well, but not financial advice. We do cover that once in a while here. Daniel Gate and I do multiple bags too. Lemon beard, lemon bread, lemon whatever. All right, don't trade my Quant. I got low and bought on high. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip that. I bought in low, bought in high, and stored in a cola. I traded another coin for ALBT too. Okay. Quant becoming $100,000 coin is a 736x, $30 in ALBT at 736x. So I think low cap plus bigger wins. Yep. Here on Clearpool. Google Assistant Chat GPT, in my opinion, not the same, but similar. The assistant is like Alexa, but powered by the lovely company of Google. I don't know about the lovely company of Google, but teach his own, my friend. All right. Yeah, I'm not exactly a big Google fan. All right. Even though I use it, I know. I'm a hypocrite. All right. So let's get further into it. I'm going to highlight that particular spot so I don't lose my spot. We're going to get more into our particular coverage we have for you guys tonight. I do believe we did, of course, ALBT. I know exactly where we're at. So we do have still a little bit more in regards to ALBT. I'm just going to share that in a way for you guys can see it. All right. Here it is. It says ALBT will do serious numbers next bull run. And if anything, check this out. AllianceBlock is building the world's first globally compliant decentralized capital market, as we know. But here's the key highlight. Somebody was going to say to you, tell me basically what AllianceBlock does in under 15 seconds. The AllianceBlock protocol is a decentralized blockchain agnostic layer 2 that brings or bridges traditional and decentralized finance and automates the process of converting any digital or crypto asset into a bankable product. There you go. Somebody asks you, there you go. That's why I was highlighting that. All right. On top of that, that's not it. We're going to get into our LCX coverage. We're going to go ahead and do that right now. So it says, did I hear tokenized economies LCX? Now you got to keep in mind, when it comes to this whole thing in Davos, who's the main sponsors of that? Who brings it to you? The World Economic Forum. All right. So it says World Economic Forum annual meetings, tokenized economies coming alive, date January 17th, 2023. You already see, for instance, various products, if you want to call it that. LCX, ALBT's there. I believe also HBAR, right? HBAR is probably one of the premier ones I'm looking forward to with what they got to say. Obviously Quant, right? They're there. There's quite a few big players that are there, right? But check this out. So it states tokenization can allow almost any real-world asset to have a digital representation on a blockchain, hence LCX. Given its transformational potential, which sectors will see the biggest influence from tokenization in terms of resilience, innovation, and social impact? Well, let's face it, definitely LCX. Now, we have some more in regards to something that we reported a while back, but let's be reminded of this. Significant, because it's BlackRock. So as we know, back in December, BlackRock partnered with Coinbase, and Coinbase partnered with LCX. Positioning itself to be the premier exchange for tokenization of everything. Why would Coinbase want to partner with LCX? They recognize the opportunities. Yes, they're their own exchange, but it's a strategic alliance, in my opinion. All right, getting more into this. The BlackRock CEO, we did cover this a while back, but here's the key highlight. BlackRock CEO says the next generation for markets is tokenization, right? And as we know, BlackRock joined a growing number of firms backing the tokenization of securities despite the CEO's wider crypto cynicism. But here's the thing. You already draw that World Economic Forum connection. You already draw the whole connection, for instance, with Coinbase. You already see what's happening with this whole thing of what's going on in Davos starting on January 17th and so on. I mean, that much more bullish on LCX. And I think, if anything, price is in reflection of that. How do we know that? Well, let's pull this up. So when looking through my particular list, LCX, we did have a little bit of a pullback. And you got to keep in mind, this thing was already pumping for like 2 or 3 days straight. It is pulling back. I mean, slightly up as we speak, but it's going to fluctuate. But it's at about roughly 7.5 cents. But you do see, for instance, the volume has gone down just a little bit and so on, but it's still doing a lot of decent things. But people do take profits. I mean, you got to keep in mind, this thing did a little over a 2x within the last, 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. So it's not too shabby. A little bit more in regards to this. The number of addresses as far as holders of LCX has increased to 15,906. We're about to hit the 16,000 mark. But basically, let's face it, guys. By tomorrow, this will be up to 16,000. Top 10 holders for LCX represent 24.38%. And of course, the majority are top 100 is 56.46%. All right. If you're interested in getting some LCX, of course, you can get it straight from the Liechtenstein Exchange. But on top of that, you can get it from Coinbase, Kraken. If you want to go decentralized, you go Uniswap. I was going to see if it was on MEXC. I don't think it's on MEXC. Huh. Interesting. Anyway. Yeah, the only decentralized exchange is Uniswap. So there you have it with that. A little bit more in regards to our particular coverage. Hold on. And that is this right here. Excuse me. All right. So it's this right here. Let me highlight that. So it says anyone interested in LCX needs to read this. In my opinion, you need just 10 to 20,000 LCX tokens and put it on a ledger. Now it states, the mother of all LCX threads. Just hear me out. More than 1,000 hours of research and community participation. LCX will be one of the most important crypto companies in a new regulated environment. That's the key thing, a regulated environment. There is no other crypto ecosystem and exchange out there which is comparable. Top of that, look at this. He states, let's start with the basic intro, especially for all you newcomers. It says, you will understand why Monty Metzger, who is the CEO of LCX, built the company different and why the 8 licenses, which by the way is not 8, it's 9 now, are the most important part of the, to building a regulated crypto ecosystem. But check this out. With all the criticism about LCX not being regulated enough, they could be furthermore from the truth. Regulation is the foundation of LCX, is basically building on. LCX is the most regulated crypto company in the world, despite where the heck the SEC may think. But on top of that, look at this. You see, for instance, MiCA, EU crypto law, and KYC for unhosted wallets, U.S. presidential order to regulate crypto. Look at this. Slowly, my main investment thesis around LCX comes into play. No other crypto ecosystem is legally better prepared for the coming storm. And they have weathered the storm. On top of that, the LCX thread, which we're outlining for you, some of the key highlights. I'm not going to read everything. Says it explains some of the core products as well as the key partnerships. And that's one of the key things I want to share with you guys here tonight. So, for instance, you do see why their partnerships with, for instance, even Polkadot, Layer 0, right? You have Quant. You have, for instance, Chainlink, HBAR, Cello, DEG, and even LTC are very important to build a full regulated and compliant crypto and tokenization ecosystem from scratch. And again, by the way, officially recognized by the World Economic Forum. On top of that, they're building the future financial system while connecting the banking world to the Web3 world. We're literally in it. It's like a future overledger for banks. Now, you got to keep in mind, that's a bold statement. Because as we know, we cover Quant here quite a bit. More than a bit, right? A lot of you guys have came over from the recorded and here at the live. But when it comes to Quant's overledger, that is a standout operating system because, if anything, Quant is blockchain agnostic, and it is basically the network of networks, allowing interoperability at scale that nobody else is doing. But this statement, it's like a future overledger for banks. LCX, institutional and exchange, the partnerships with Quant and even Constellation DEG are a big part, I should say, of its vision. Getting further down into this, LCX is the only exchange which has the tokenized EUR. In uncertain times with stablecoins like UST, Luna's unstable stablecoin, and DAI, depegging, it's the safe haven. It's got a 1-1 peg, and it's even more secure to hold it on chain instead of at your bank account. Now we get it. Some people are going to do what they want, right? Different exchanges or put on ledgers or whatever the case be. But it's something to be said about what they have done and how they weather the storm of a lot of crypto winter. A summary thread of all the big partnerships announcements of LCX. And I will get into some of that right now. So in regards to this, I'll pull this up. You have this right here. And that is Quant chose, as we know, LCX as partner to enable DLT interoperability. So look at this. I'll pull that up. So this is a while back, but it's still, you got to reflect on what happened. This was all the way back on April 19th of 2021. Liechtenstein blockchain innovators LCX is excited to announce that particular strategic collaboration with Quant. But the key thing is some of the things you see here. They share, both Quant and LCX, the same vision of building a bridge between the traditional and financial markets and future blockchain-based monetary systems. Quant has built the foundation technology solution for DLT interoperability, which is important for the growth of LCX and the industry as a whole, according to who? Monty Metzger, CEO of LCX. Some of the key things before I kick it back into comments is this right here. This strategic alliance, basically, they had a scope vision on what they're going to do, but they have accomplished this, and that is Quant invited them to become the network gateway of the Overledger network. These are some of the key things you need to take away if you're trying to understand that Quant connection. Quant will integrate LCX within the Overledger network as a key partner. They've already done that. LCX will support Overledger network technology within the LCX ecosystem. LCX will list Quant on LCX's regulated cryptocurrency exchange, LCX Exchange. They've already done that. And oh, by the way, they already listed Galileo Protocol, which is Leo X, as the first ever what? QRC20 token built upon what? Quant. They have joint research and development, collaboration, and explored technical and high-level issues among LCX management and the Quant management team, eventually evaluating CBDC exchange settlement. So, in closing, not as far as the show, but as far as that particular piece, here's the key thing. We've talked here at Crypto Talk now many times when it comes to understanding, for instance, the ALBT Quant connection. How about this? The Quant LCX connection. So if anything, if you happen to hold Quant LCX and ALBT, well then, if anything, you can understand the significance of what's going on here soon. Be out on the lookout for what's going to happen with all three key companies with their quote unquote pitch, if you will, of what they want to share here at Davos here soon from the World Economic Forum. So with that said, guys, let's go ahead and kick it back into the comments. And let's see who is next. So we have, for instance, just making sure I wasn't muted, man, that would have been horrible. Edward Vincent, Top Shelf Crypto. Sarcasm travels well through text. Lol, yes. Coochie Boy says, was in lows 50s a week or so ago. Dang. Boctron states, more multiplier to be made for ALBT than Quant, 26 million market cap versus 1.6 billion now. 59x for Quant to ALBT market cap currently. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, I guess. Correction, 2 millions. Okay. 2 million versus 1.6 billion. Yeah. All right, Coochie Boy. Oh, the Cincinnati Bengals was typo. Defensive lineman just recovered a fumble and ran it back 90. I love seeing that. When you see a great big old giant lummox of a guy and he's running it back and he could just barely run it. But then what happens? Everybody out, like all of a sudden, you have everybody who, you know, is just in a panic and they're blocking for him. And I don't know. I'll have to watch that. I'll have to watch some of the highlights. That sounds cool. Yeah, those are always fun to watch. All right, Tim Shea, Bactron ALBT has so much utility for the price and not listed on Binance or Coinbase yet. Yeah, I was gonna say yet also. Coochie Boy, watching that, I was rooting for the center to make it. He was running out of gas. Well, not center, yeah, defensive lineman. True. That was a nice run. Brittany's watching it as well. That would have been hilarious. So Coochie Boy, Bactron, that was interesting to me that it pumps so hard when it's hard to purchase comparing to other coins. Good point. All right, let me go further down. Not being on CB, on Coinbase, yeah, or Binance or Crypto.com. They just showed the deal taking oxygen. I imagine. I bet, yeah, he probably is like, oh my gosh. If I had to guess his number, he's like number 99 or something. They always have like those big numbers. All right. Okay. Nobody knew the ball was out. That's the tweet. LOL. Except the big boy. Tim Shea, he was in the right spot. Someone swatted it and it went right into his hands. That's cool. Years ago, there's a player for the Cardinals. It's back in like late 90s. I forgot the guy's name, but his last name was Wilson. He was a big defensive lineman. It's the same scenario. I think it's his one and only touchdown of his life, right? They just went right to him, and then like all the rest of the Cardinals players, like block for him and so on. That was way, way back when Jake Plummer played for the Cardinals. I was never really big a fan of Jake Plummer. I thought he was good as far as a college quarterback, but I never really consider him that great of a. He was decent for the Denver Broncos, I should say. But anyway, Boctron LCX market cap at 5 billion is only half of Crow market cap at its all-time highs. That's 100x from here. Never say too easy, but still say too easy. That's a good way of looking at it. Proofofmeme.blockchain. What do you think about TikTok, Max and Larry? Well, I've said numerous times that I feel as though in a bull run, Tectonic will do at least a 10x. And it's already proven that. We've already seen it. I said to everyone, this is going to shed at least 1 0, maybe 2. You've already seen it even before what was officially recognized as a bull market. It's still not officially recognized as a bull market. That was still technically crypto winner. So with that also said, my main key thing is it's the ease of access. You have a lot of new investors who come into crypto. They won't even know about crypto. They haven't done any research or anything. They just simply look at it from the perspective, hey, they don't even know it's called a centralized exchange. Let's just be honest, right? Install the app, They're like, okay, I just want to, buy the most for the least. I mean, literally, I mean, am I too far wrong here? I don't think I am. I think that's another reason why Shiba Inu still does well. They just look at it from that perspective. I could buy the most for the least. I'm just going to take a chance on this. So with that said, then in a bull market, that's going to be amplified even that much more. Now, for you and I and so on, and a lot of us who understand, what tectonic, the things that they're building, and some of the strategic things that they're doing, causes us to be that much more bullish on it. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I think tectonic is great, to be honest. And if anything, I'm looking to get some. I don't hold any yet. Key thing yet. I'm still trying to. I have my list. I literally updated my particular list of roughly 20 to 30 different projects that are now my short list. And then from my short list, it becomes like what ones from this short list are you going to realistically buy? Do you buy more of what you already have, right? DCA, or do I do entry points? Well, a couple entry points I have to do is definitely like the likes of HBAR, right? But in regards to tectonic is part of that particular list because I look at it from that perspective. My perspective is this, and I understand not everybody can do this, and even myself, like on teacher wages, we don't really exactly make much, but I look from the perspective of 1K in $1,000, I should be able to 10x that. But again, it's part of my priorities. I mean, I'm looking for a 10x on the short term. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. Or am I looking at, would I rather put $1,000 into something else like some of these ISOs for the long term? Well, I need a little bit of short term too. I have plenty of my long term. And again, if you've been into crypto investing for a while, then these are some of the conversations I guess you have with yourself or your spouse or whoever you're talking about these things with. But it's definitely something that you need to break down scenarios. You need to understand market cap. You need to understand, for instance, circulating supply. And you say to yourself, what is on my priority list as far as what I'm looking to accomplish based on this amount that I'm going to invest? And if your conclusion basically is that, I need a quick 10x, I think maybe with tectonic, that might be your answer. If your answer is, well, I'm looking more towards long-term investing. I want to have, for instance, financial freedom, wealth, and so on. And I'm limited on a strict budget. Then again, maybe you don't do a full 1K into tectonic. Maybe you do 500, and you put another 500 into various different ISOs or ones that are part of the QFS, the quantum financial system. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit. To a sense, I know I didn't take much of a deep dive into tectonic specifically, but I'm just trying to give you a quick gist of how I feel about it. But thank you for being here. All right, LCX, 50 billion market cap one day. 1000X might take a while, but it will get there. That's a good way of looking at it. I mean, you might not be too far off. I don't quite think, for instance, that it gets to Binance's market cap. I'm just going to be honest about that. But even if they did 25 to 50%, that in itself is huge, huge. All right, let me go further down. Where do you get all that LCX? MEXC? I didn't see it on MEXC. But maybe it is on MEXC. Maybe they just haven't updated it. Because sometimes they don't update it, on CMC. Fire, yep. 848. You posted that 5 minutes ago. Jake the Snake was a chucker. Huh. I met a few wrestlers when I was a kid, believe it or not. I don't know if you can remember some of these guys. So from WCW, I have a picture of myself when I was a kid with a wrestler called Billy Jack Haynes. I also met Superfly Jimmy Snuka. And then also when I was a kid, I was trained by one of the, I should say, the first ESPN boxer ever who was featured on ESPN. His name was Andy Minsker. But anyway, there was a documentary that was also brought. It was called Broken Noses. Anyway, long story. All right, let's get further into it. Do you know of any crypto? Sorry, I scrolled too far down. Do you know of any crypto that can be used to shape the U.S. economy around, like, buy the U.S. debt? Buy the U.S. debt? think in the future, I mean, here's the thing. So currently speaking, the whole thing with the SEC, I would say XRP, but I mean, there's the whole thing with the SEC. I think in the future, if that gets dropped, right, we end up winning that, then who would take on the U.S. debt would definitely be XRP. That would be my answer. They would take that. They would definitely take that on. And that's how we achieve crazy market caps, by the way. For all the people saying, like, you know, there's no way we get to these insane high market caps. That's one example. So there's my answer to that. All right, Coochie Boy, can Anchor ANKR hit $80 in a bull market? I don't know. I'm not really into that particular project, but let me know what you guys think. Tim Shea just added to my Casper Bay today. Yeah, I need to make an entry point for Casper. It's definitely on my short list. Like, for real. It's on my short list. Mass debaters. LCX can realistically do KuCoin or OKX exchange numbers this next coming bull run. What do you think about Telcoin and the what's that? Mo IKEA? I don't know. App they have. They say they're a true DeFi. I don't know. I mean, I've seen that one on my list for a long time, and it's had some decent pumps. I never took a chance to look more into it more. I've just there's so many different crypto projects. I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, obviously it's been doing pretty decent. But I don't have an opinion on that, unfortunately. Proof of Meme blockchain. You look like a Jimmy Superfly Snuka fan. Yeah, he was pretty cool back in the day. I used to be really, really into, like, you know, back when it was called WWF, back when I was a kid. Paula Rose, Coinbase has LCX. Mass debater, you're wise. My little grasshopper, or how you said. Let's go, Max. All right. Well, thank you, Larry and Mass. I'm going to kick it into more of our particular coverage we have for you tonight. So we're about an hour and 41 minutes in. Let me go ahead and share some of this with you guys. I'm just trying to see where we're at real quick before I present this. Let me see. All right. So a little bit more in regards to LCX, and it is in regards to the whole thing going on at Davos. Because, you know, I definitely want to mention that to you guys. So here it is. Not right there. Here it is. So LCX at Davos meeting some big players with the World Economic Forum. We talked about this before. We'll be seeing this. Promoting LCX, and Monty Metzger, CEO of LCX, releasing his book. Yeah, he released a book. How cool is that? Wish I could have attended, but maybe I could get a signed book at least. And here's the reason why I'm showing this to you guys, or sharing this. Look at some of these billboards. So it says, LCX, crypto is not for wealth, but for freedom. And freedom is wealth. It says blockchain banking, the future of money and finance, by who? LCX's own CEO, Monty C. Metzger. Monty C.M. Metzger, I should say. And yeah, here's a couple different ones, right? Again, crypto is not for wealth, but for freedom, and freedom is wealth. Kind of an oxymoron in a way, but yeah, this is a thing. Obviously, it's going on. And again, you know, it's going to be really interesting to see some of these particular interviews. I'm sure some people will leak out some footage. Let's be honest. I mean, if I was able to leak footage from Metropolis, right, I'm sure somebody is going to be able to record something from Davos. It's just a no-brainer. We'll try to provide you guys some of those key highlights with some of those clips, and looking forward to doing so. All right, a little bit more in regards to our particular coverage. I showed you guys that. And it's this right here. As regards now to XDC, so we're jumping into our particular XDC coverage. So it says Elite Web3 Solutions, which, by the way, let's face it, they are featured on the top right corner of Crypto Cheat Sheet 2.0. I have it pinned on my profile if you follow me on Twitter. It says they have built 2 decentralized applications that use XDC. And then again, guys, this is a particular XDC update for you. Nice to provide you some more XDC updates. I was kind of wondering what was going on with that. But yeah, you know, as XDC is basically a settlement token, giving more utility to the XDC network native token. So you have, for instance, the BlockFit app, BlockFund app, and so on. We did cover BlockFit. It's one of those ones that's similar to the likes of GMT and FitFi, but built on XDC's blockchain. There's more incoming, and here's that particular one from Elite Web3 Blockchain Solutions. Thought that was pretty cool, because this is a I guess you could say it's a strategic partnership between the two. So there's that particular update in regards to XDC. On top of that, here's a little bit more from XDC. It says, remember this, where's my XDC fam at? Get ready for passive galore on, yeah, listen to this, Flare. So yeah, I need to still do a deep dive for Flare to provide to our community. But if anything, I'm still going to point out updates. So Flare and XDC partnership, yeah, pretty cool, huh? Look at this. So for instance, you have, what's it say? Flare Finance and Zenfin. Well, you know what? Hold on. Have a bi-directional bridge enabling either chain to deploy assets to the other chain. And if anything, like it says, Zenfin network will be able to mint assets from Flare network onto Zenfin network, whereas Flare Finance could utilize XDC in its ecosystem using Flare Wrap. This makes all the assets on either chain interoperable across both chains, unlocking huge potential for developers as well as value for investors. And again, they have worked on this for a long time. As we know, Flare just launched. As far as this announced partnership, this has been worked on since literally June 25th of 2021. And as we know, Flare got delayed for the longest time. But, you know, some people are already responding to this, and they responded to this roughly a couple days ago. This particular person says, do you need to buy Flare to stake XRP or XDC to a 1-to-1 ratio? This guy responds back in regards to this question. It's a good question. You can receive a 1-to-1 with FXDC. He believes you might need a little Flare with XDC for the small transaction fees. And here's the thing. I mean, you know, it's nice to see that particular partnership. Whether you're a fan of Flare or not, it is interesting to say at least, and it is an update in regards to just that, XDC. All right, let's kick it back into the comments and see where we're at. All right, Salamander, Larry, you're falling behind. Buy your XRP now. All right, Emmanuel states, how many H-bar ALBT LCX is good enough for a starter? I don't know what to say because what's good for me might not be for others. Any advice for, please, for a friend? Well, I'm going to allow some of the community to answer that. And the reason for it being is this. It all depends on your budget and how much you're willing to spend and some of your goals going forward. Here's the thing. When I mention some of these specific goals, like some people ask me about Quant, right? They'll say, Max, how much do I need to, you know, to become a Quant millionaire? Again, it depends on how long you're, you know, or short you're willing to wait when it comes to accomplishing some of these key things. You know, if your thing is, I want to be a Quant millionaire and I want to be soon and all this stuff, well, then 10 Quant ain't going to do the job, is it? So, you know, the same thing would apply to, for instance, this specific question. So the other day I gave an example. I know this is not answering for these specific ones, but it makes sense. Again, it's part of that conversation with you. So maybe you have on a spreadsheet some different scenarios. That's what I do. And you just literally write down. So again, for Quant would be like, for instance, once it hits like, you know, at least 10K or 10K. So basically that would be 100 Quant. You know what I mean? So again, it depends on how soon you're looking to achieve that. If you're the type of guy, you're like, you know what, I'm going to hold on to Quant until it gets to at least 100,000. Then obviously, you know, that's at least 10 Quant. The same rule applies to some of these. You have to break down, for instance, those prices, the market cap. You know, it's not a simple, here's what to do for me. But I would like to hear from the community because some other people, for instance, you know, they have examples they can give you on what they're planning to do. Any advice, please, for a friend? Yeah. I'm sure somebody can answer that for you specifically. That's just going to take a while to kind of answer that. Because, you know, I'm going to have to pull up, for instance, each price per tab and, you know, what the market cap is at, so on and so forth. Maybe in the future, I'll be able to come back to that and give you an updated answer. Bactron says 100,000 K each minimum. Wow. All right. Mass states Telcoin is one of his retirement plans. Cool. He held over $1 million, took some profit, now still holds 500,000. Really, really cheap. Right on. Hold on. Paulo didn't even think it would be on Coinbus, but they traded. Crypto McDizzle for shizzle, manizzle, faux show. States, I say y'all need to get Luna too, with charges getting dropped on Quant and the truth coming out that Sam Bankman-Fried is responsible for the Luna crash. Luna is taking back off. It's less than a 2x from bottom. Yeah, that's a good point, because here's the thing. That's opportunity. Yeah, you're right about that. That is opportunity. Whether we're fans of Do Kwon or not, or just you don't trust them, whatever the case be, I think a lot of people will recognize that, and the market will move. They will move with the market, and also new investors will get into it. There will be reflection based off of that. That's a good point. Thanks for pointing that out, Mike. Hey, here's a guy I recognize, Pure Mustang in the house. Good to see you, man, from the recorded ALBT videos. He says, hey, mate, or hi, mate. How about ALBT? Do you think it can achieve $100 per coin? I don't know if I'm ready to answer that. I think it could definitely get way up there. But I don't know. I'm going to have to look more into some of the specifics in regards to market cap and things like that. I think there's huge potential. I don't know if I'm just ready to say, yeah, it will go to $100 a coin. I don't know if I do that yet. I'm going to need a little bit more time in regards to that. So, but I will state this. I mean, I think if anything, at least maybe $10, $15 a coin. I know some of you guys have like $20 a coin. I did see one guy say 50, but I'm not quite ready to just jump in and say, yeah, $100 a coin without looking more into it. But I do appreciate the question. And I really appreciate that you came from the recorded to the live, Pure Mustang. I know every time we put out ALBT update, you're always posting. So don't think I don't recognize it. Definitely do. Guys, give Pure Mustang the warm Crypto Talk Now network welcome. He comes from the recorded every single time we put out an ALBT update. He was always right there, immediately posting. So, I mean, it's really cool to see people make that leap to the live. Pure Mustang, consider changing your avatar to something that speaks more who you are and what you're about. Maybe, it is a Mustang horse. Maybe it's my all-time favorite 1967, Ford Mustang with that fastback window, like the Eleanor one from Gone in 60 Seconds, drove by, Nicolas Cage, or, where the case be. Welcome, man. All right. Top Shelf Crypto, aka Edward Vincent. Anything is better than nothing. For the amounts, it's all about how much you want to make. Get your plan and stick to it. That's the key thing. He's right. Have your plan. Understand the circulating supply, market cap, all those things. Here's a mistake that a lot of new investors make. All right, and it's a common thing, and that basically is this. So let's say, for instance, somebody came from Shiba Inu. They're brand new. They're like, oh my gosh. All I got to do is spend, for instance, I don't know, what's the price of it? I think we just achieved 4.0. So I'm going to pull this up real quick, actually. Let me take a moment. Because a lot of you guys, let's face it, some of you guys are new and some of you aren't. There's nothing wrong with that. We were all new at one point, right? So what you do is you go over to some place like this, like, CMC. And by the way, the overall crypto market cap is at 992 billion. I think at some point, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after, we get back into the 1 trillion again. I think we briefly did. I think Larry did a short about that. But anyway, let's jump down to SHIB real quick. This is just an example. Whether you're a fan of SHIB or not, that's beyond the point. So SHIB is ranked 14th. We're back up to 4.0. So 0.40 is in a number, all right? So, if this dropped, for instance, to like 0.509, which it could, and somebody basically put, $9,000 into this, so they get, I'm pretty sure, like $1 billion, if I'm not mistaken. So some people look at this. This is how they blindly look at this. This is a great example. They blindly look at this and they say to themselves, well, I already got it figured out. I got it all figured out. You don't have it all figured out. No offense. This is what the new investor does. I said $9,000 to this. And if this goes to a penny, how many times have you heard somebody say this? And if this goes to a penny, I'm going to be worth $10 million. If it goes to half a penny, I'm going to be worth $1 million. The thing is this, that requires an insane amount of market cap. Don't get me wrong. I mean, all this stuff could happen in the future with a rapid burn rate of 900+% that's been happening lately and so on. And let's face it, getting into a bull run, even getting into a bull run with all-time highs, I still don't see this going to a half a penny or a penny. I'm just being real with you. Maybe in the many years from now, possibly. But you also got to keep in mind with crypto regulation and so on. My thing is this: we have to have, regulatory clarity to understand if even projects like this stay around. With that also said, for me personally, I see this getting to new all-time highs, hopefully, in this next bull run. So if we get to new all-time highs, as we know, previous all-time highs is 0.4088 or 89 actually. I was extremely lucky. I pulled out at roughly 88, 87, right around that particular range. Turn 8K into 88K, hence why I'm here. But for a person that had the attitude of over 1 billion coins at $9,000, like that particular example I gave, let's say for instance, new all-time highs become 0.30 and like a 1. So basically, that right there is very tempting to just take profits. Why? Because if anything, you can get back into it later, take your profits, get back into it later if you choose to do so, and you can still get 1 billion of these things again, but you still have all those profits. And that's the key thing that I think a lot of people don't realize. Also, like I think it was Legrand Commission a long time ago. I mentioned that this could go up to 0.20 in the number. You keep in mind, he's been in crypto longer than I have. But as far as the whole thing of 1 penny or even a half a penny, I'm just going to be honest. I do not see this getting to that. I got to be a little bit realistic. I don't see it happening in this next bull run. I could be completely wrong, and I hope I am, right? But I don't know. I want to point out some of these particular scenarios. That's all. All right, getting back into the comments. But yeah, here's the thing. The reason why I mentioned that, get your plan and stick to it. So even though I mentioned that particular example, if your plan is, I am so convicted that Shiba Inu is going to get a half a penny or a full penny, and that's what you want to stick to, then that's what you stick to. But at the same time, I do think you will get wrecked. I'm going to be honest. You should take profits. I did. And if anything, you can always get back into it. So if you made, like myself, it was over 80K, it was 88K. Why wouldn't you just say to yourself, all right, I'm going to wait until the market dips way, way back down. And it did. You could have just got right back into it. And then if it takes off again, then you take profits again. To me, that's the smart thing to do. But you got to do what you got to do. But again, Edward Vincent's right. Please have a plan. And it's good to have, either write down in the portfolio. You do it with CMC if you make an account, or you do it on a spreadsheet. For me personally, shout out to Johnny Crypto of the 3-2 Warriors Academy. He has this thing. It's just basically like CMC on steroids, to be honest. It's called Merlin. I'm looking more into that. I need to take more of a deeper dive into it, but it's literally like the premier crypto portfolio. Yeah, I know it sounds like a sponsored thing for Merlin, but I don't know. Let me know. Are you guys using Merlin? Do you know what Merlin is? It's a really cool app for your portfolio, and I really think about switching from CMC to that. But once I find out more information, I might do a video on it. Whether I'm not getting paid by them to do that, I saw it and I thought it looked pretty cool. All right, hey Pure Mustang, hello. You're a big fan, mate. Great content as always. Thanks, man. Really, really appreciate that. So you say, mate, so are you down under or are you across the pond? We'd love to know where you're at, Pure Mustang. But thanks, man. Really appreciate you too. Let's see. VGX volume is up 65%, 24 hours. Price is up 8%. Thanks, McDiz. Yeah, I was thinking about getting back into it, but I don't know. It was also becoming a thing where it was a little bit too risky at this point. But it is still on my watch list. 8.9% says 8.95% says Tim Shea. We're approaching 2 hours. I'm actually going to wrap up the show here in a little bit. I'm just going to get into the last few comments. Bachtron says $100 ALBT at 95 billion market cap at 95% max supply. Possible. Definitely possible in time. And ALBT is deflationary. What about Bones? Bones is the Bone token. I definitely need to get into that. It's the only one I don't have from the Shiba Inu ecosystem. I have Leash. Obviously, I have Shib. When Shibarium drops, let's face it, it's like almost a guarantee that Bone will pump. It's all about supply and demand. So there'd be a tremendous amount of demand for Bone. So yeah, old Max here needs to get some of that. Yeah, I know. I've been talking about that for a while. All right, LA, can you track your portfolio on CoinMarketCap? Absolutely, you can. All you do is sign up for a free account, and then from there, you simply put in your tokens or coins, and then you ask you which particular one it was, how much you paid per coin, and every time you go to buy these, whether it's from exchanges or not, where you use, you always want to take a when you hit that buy order, write down how much that value was, and then keep like your own personal ledger of those amounts, and then you can put it on the likes of CMC, and then they have a portfolio tracker. It allows you to keep track of everything you have, so you can see what's up, what's down, what you originally put into it, the dollar amount, everything. I've been using it for I don't know about a couple years now. All right, in the UK, cool. Very, very cool. I'm just going to do a little bit of extended coverage before I end the particular show. I want to highlight some key things I saw on CMC. So this will be our last particular segment before we wrap up the show. So if anything, let's go ahead and present that. There we go. There we go. All right. So this is straight from CoinMarketCap. Like I mentioned, we're at $992 billion market cap. I do see us getting back to 1 trillion. I want to point this out, whether people are big fans of this or not. And that is PancakeSwap. It is on my list of ones that I'm thinking about getting into. I understand a lot of people feel as though it's garbage. So I'm not looking at it from that perspective. I'm looking at it from the perspective of that. And you're going to hear me say this a lot. So into 2023, I think one of the key things that stands out for 2023 is decentralized apps. And there's quite a few different DApps on PancakeSwap. Now, with that said, there's where a lot of the utility kicks in. Now, with that also said, I feel as though that this is a very underrated performer going into the bull market. I'm going to give you a particular example of what I'm talking about with this. So, for instance, you have a circulating supply that's only 22% out there. You have, for instance, 167,609,553 cake. You do have a max supply of 750 million and a total supply of 364 million. Now, as we know, this has been around for a while. This is dated all the way back to October 2nd of 2020. And we did see, for instance, all-time highs back on April of 2021. You got to keep in mind, this is during the time in which a lot of people are looking to get into Shiba Inu and also looking to get into Doge. Okay. So this was at $42.68. Then, for instance, even back in August of 2021, this was down to $26. I mean, it's taken a dive. Don't get me wrong. But I also feel as though that it's one of those that's considered kind of like a distress asset. It is on the target of the SEC. But I'm not necessarily looking into, have this on the long term. I'm talking about like multi-year, because again, it could be one of those that is on the radar or going to be part of that regulatory compliance, which maybe goes away, possibly. But my thing is on the short term, and when I say short term, I'm looking like maybe 3 months to a year outlook. I see me being able to make a quick flip on this. So I'm just stating for the record, I see this moving on the upside because I'm looking at a lot of different projects, what they bring to the table as far as what utility they have built into their app. So when I mention specific DApps, I think there's still a lot of upside potential for the likes of PancakeSwap, believe it or not. So this is one that's definitely on my radar. I mentioned some of these things in the past, for instance, like Uniswap and so on, that obviously did well. But this one is definitely on my particular short-term radar. I'm not suggesting to you to get into this. It's not financial advice, but it's just something that I want to point out because I look at it as opportunity. All right. A little bit more in regards to some other things I want to show you. And that is what we see right here on the top 100. I'm not aware of Frax share. I'm not looking to get into the central land, but obviously there's an opportunity there. One thing I want to point out is HNT. I have dollar cost average into helium quite a few times. I feel as though even at these particular price levels, like it's been a decent swing trade. I think it's a great one for long term. I just think they have the whole package, if you will, especially if you're into mining, you name it, especially if you're a complete noob to mining. HNT is like so simple for the most part. Even though I'm not mining personally, if I was going to finally start mining, it would probably be HNT, and I have said that multiple times. Another thing I was going to mention: look out for deep dive videos for Near Protocol, Tezos, and Theta that will provide you here within the near future. Another thing I want to point out, as far as what's I noticed is on sale, is some of these. I still feel as though in a bull market, eCash XEC is going to be one of the standout ones to shed at least 1-0. And another thing I was going to point out is I know some people are like, well, I miss Crow at, was it like 5.5, 6 cents? There's still opportunity there. I mean, basically, last bull cycle, I was at 17 cents, and this was my third top performer was Kronos. So I put 1,700 into it, and I made 10K. I took out just like a few days before it hit all-time highs, and I was really glad to do that. We point out Clayton blockchain. They're doing a lot in regards to mobile gaming and what their blockchain provides to that. Do not sleep on Clayton, even at 19 cents. Again, none of this is financial advice, you guys. The thing I want to point out real quick is XDC. You haven't seen a lot going on with XDC. That doesn't mean they're not going to stand out. Look out for XDC, especially when the utility run comes, and it will be coming. And with that said, at these particular prices, if you're not into XDC yet and you happen to be holding, for instance, LCX, ALBT, and some of these other ones, they're doing obviously very, very well as of recently, and you're still not into XDC, consider XDC. Again, not financial advice, but we do point some of these things out. Believe it or not, I know we don't talk about it much, but Chainlink, for instance, I think they still can do some things. I am considering it, but it's not on my short list. But I do realize the price. There's opportunity there. As far as this entry point to Solana, I don't know about that. And then I am considering Bitcoin SV. Shout out to Cool Cat Crypto. I'm not looking to pick up like a lot of it, but I'm looking to maybe basically get maybe a handful of it. And then another thing I think is going to stand out this year for in the 2023 is layer zeros. And later on down the road, in a recorded video, I'll do an outline that will give you a little bit more in regards to that particular thesis. But check it out, guys. Cosmos Atom, we said it quite a few times. Do not sleep on that one as well. I'm looking to actually buy into Casper finally. And I'm just kind of give you guys a heads up of what I'm looking to do. Filecoin, whether it's swing trading or long term, honestly, that one is just literally becoming like the Coca-Cola of crypto. I'm not even playing. I don't see anybody getting wrecked on Filecoin. I'm just being honest. So those are some of the key ones. Obviously, HBAR, I'm going to get into that as well. As far as my watch list, just real quick before we wrap things up, I want to show you guys that. Keep in mind, there's some garbage ones on there. There's just ones I need to kind of clean up. By the way, XRP is now up over, up over the 40% mark. So that's pretty cool to see that. On that 1 hour, they're up to over 2%. Here's what's pumping on that particular list. Do not get into Wolverine. I do not recommend them. That's the V1, by the way. So FTT is pumping. It's up over 43%. Again, distressed asset. I mean, take it as you will, but understand that distressed assets is not something that you may want to. Excuse me. It's not something you want to have for long term. I think we can all agree on that. All right, some of these other ones. Bonk is up 24%. That was one of the standout ones for roughly a week or two ago. But it's up again. ALI, I point out many times, long before some of the newcomers came here. Nothing because there are newcomers. We love our newcomers. But I point out many times that ALI is a great swing trade. All right. And some of you guys point out it's even a great one for long term. That's even more impressive. But as far as swing trading, it's, oh man, if you look back into it's 2022, you could swing trade the living hell out of this, and people have. And also the ease of access is on crypto.com. All right, a little bit more. Singularity Net, 21% up. WeMix was a really good standout one for 2022 at the beginning. For those first 3 or 4 months of 2022, this was a top performer. As Mike Cornwell has mentioned, Terra Luna 2.0, it's up 15%. And the whole thing about the charges being dropped on Doquan, maybe more and more people get into it. But will more and more developers get into Terra 2.0? Could very well be the case. We'll have to follow that more closely in the future. There's a couple more ones I want to bring your attention. Of course, Bone from Shiba Swap is up about 10.5%. Consider making a position, or maybe just wait until that pump is over. Of course, we talked about Near. I'm going to take more of a deeper dive into Morpheus Network because that gets brought up quite a bit. Here's something I want to draw your attention to as I pull it up, and that is the circulating supply. You only had 47,180,000. That's pretty attractive, to say the least. So we'll take more of a deeper dive into that. But that's going to wrap it up for the most part. I'm going to just recognize a few more comments before we wrap up the show. Should we get into AI crypto? Which ones? There's a few. You need to do more in your own research, but I'll say this much. One of the standout ones for me is Singularity Net from the Cardano ecosystem. And they've already proven time and time again why they are a top tier project for AI. Very, very impressive team. When you want to picture like something high tech from AI, literally it's them. Look more into them if you haven't done so already. Tim Shea says, just sold his VGX bag that was in Coinbase and got some LCX. That's a good way to look at it. He uses CoinGecko for portfolios, just enter trades as you do them. Nice way to track things, he says. Sorry about the faucet in the background, but it's one of those things. Boxtron, no guarantees in life, but money in ALBT, LCX Quant is close enough to guarantee in life for loss of money. Tim Shea, Near is very volatile, probably good to swing trade. I track it, but haven't gotten into it yet. So many cryptos. Yeah, there's just so many. Thanks for pointing that out, though, Tim. All right, last comment before we wrap up the show. At LA, yes, the AI tokens have been pumping, waiting for a pullback, too. Yeah, me too. All right. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for joining us at Crypto Talk Now. Smash the like button on your way out if you don't mind. And glad to be here with you guys on this Sunday. I think we have a lot to look forward to on Monday and going forward. We'll specifically bring you guys updates in regards to what's going on with HBAR, LCX, ALBT, especially Quant from Davos. Looking forward to bringing you guys some of the clips, doing some recorded videos and so on. May you all have a blessed night, everybody. We will see you on the next one.